Ireland. We just went to Ireland to see exactly what is going on with the migrant crisis there. As you know, in America here, we have had a huge problem with our open borders. Well, this too is going on in Ireland as people from all over the world are going to Ireland because Ireland is a country without borders. Ireland is broken up into two countries. There's United Kingdom and there's Ireland. Therefore, there are no borders because they want people to be able to come and go without any problem. So people from all over the world have taken advantage of that, and they know Ireland is a very welcoming country, so people are coming to Ireland. And what do the people get when they go to Ireland? Well, just like in America, they get free housing, they get free clothing, they get free food, and they get money. And the people of Ireland are upset with this. They said, we work hard for our money, and our money is going towards all these people who came illegally into our country. If it keeps going like this, the country of Ireland will no longer be Irish anymore. In a few years, if they keep allowing all these people in, the Irish culture will be gone, and people there are upset. In this video, you will hear from the people of Ireland. They will tell you their thoughts as to what is going on. It's a little bit different when you just hear it from me, but when you hear it from people who live there, it's actually their life and they're living it, so they know exactly what is going on. Did you know there's a country without a border? I'm standing right here in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom. If I was to go beyond that sign right there, I'd be standing in Ireland. There's no one here checking. No one is asking for a passport, for an ID. No one is checking to see why you're actually going into Ireland. There is no border in Ireland. Therefore, Ireland is having a huge problem with illegal immigrants. Just like in America, people are coming into these countries. Ireland, no one cares, no one checks if you're going in there. There's no border patrol. At least in America, we did have a border wall. I know our border's been open for the past 4 years, but there was a little bit of something maybe trying to stop people from coming. Here in Ireland, the illegal immigrants get everything. They get housing, they get clothes, they get food, they even get free schooling. Just like it was happening in America. Thankfully, Donald Trump is putting a stop to that. But the people here in Ireland, they're fed up with it. The homeless problem is crazy here. People cannot afford to live. There's a lot of poverty, but yet for some reason they're welcoming all these people from all other countries into their country, and no one is stopping them from coming in. Northern Ireland, Ireland right there. Do you see a border patrol? There's absolutely no one stopping this from happening. For people who don't know what's going on in Ireland, just exactly what is happening?
Ireland has gone to the dogs. It's just not our country anymore. It's horrible. You don't feel safe walking the streets. I certainly don't, and I was born and reared in Dublin. I wouldn't feel safe. I don't like my children going there. I don't like my grandchildren going there. But it's not safe. It's gone to the dogs. It really is.
And how has it gone to the dogs?
Because he let too much immigrants in, and not the right ones, unfettered ones. There's not the right ones. What's down here there's nothing wrong with them. They could be fighting in a war, but they're not. But they're just getting money, that's all.
What do the immigrants get here?
Oh, they get plenty. Now one man, a Romanian man, buys off me, and he told me that in their country they get paid for one child, children's allowance. They get paid for as many as they have here, 10. They're coming from England over here now. Coming from the north down there over here because getting more money. You get plenty to get well looked after. I pay me taxes. I'm paying for these people to be here, and they're flaunting it in front of me every day, just standing around doing nothing, drinking and fighting.
Well, how is mass immigration affecting Europe?
Europe is not recognisable anymore. You know, when we look, especially in Great Britain and in the south of Ireland, you know, Garda, which is the police service down there, are blocking them and bringing busloads. And our wee country, you know, we've been through a lot, especially up the north here, and our wee country doesn't want any more violence. We've Catholics and Protestants in this country have came together over the last 20 years and made this a beautiful wee country, and we just want to continue showing that we are a great population and protect our women and children. And when people say to us, oh, but there's people from your country that rape or attack women, yes, we know that. Nobody's denying that. But let's face it, until we look after ourselves, we can't help anybody. You know, it's the same if you look at any sort of individual human being. You know, I'm not going to take weight loss tips off somebody that's 20 stone. I'm a sprinter. I'm not going to learn to sprint off somebody who's never sprinted in their lives before. So we need to get our own country right before we can help everybody else. And we have really severe mental health issues in this country that need dealt with. Once we become a strong nation, then of course we are willing to help other people.
Exactly. Do you feel like your government is not listening to you guys?
Do you know, I don't know whether to bring up Conor McGregor. Well, let's go with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, I know, is from the south of Ireland. As far as I'm concerned, he spoke for the Irish people at the White House. Our country is unrecognisable. I would not. I used to, in the early noughties, and I was in my young 20s, I used to come round this town. And you could have came around this town at 2-3 in the morning, right? And you'd have all been maybe had a few drinks in you, and you'd have bumped into somebody else that was coming towards you. Next thing you'd have been chatting, what's the crack? We're going to this party or we're going there. To complete strangers in the middle of the street. I wouldn't feel safe to send anybody into this town. And I just want our future generations to have that love in our beautiful city where they come together and support each other and love each other, not be frightened to come into the city that they were born and bred in.
And now your cities are not the same anymore because of this mass migration?
Our cities are not safe because of illegal, unvetted men running about. I was just speaking to somebody there now who says, and this was a gentleman I was just speaking to, not even a woman, and he said that the odd occasion that he's in this town, he can see these, they're now gangs of men, illegal immigrant men, approaching women in our cities. This gentleman didn't even feel safe walking through his own city. How are women supposed to feel safe in their own country? It's not on. We need to look after our own first.
One of our great citizens of the United States of America, Rosie O'Donnell, has just moved to Ireland. How do you feel about her coming to Ireland?
Probably about as happy as I am with the thought of the Clintons coming to visit there last year and everyone else. I'm not best pleased, but us Irish are always welcoming no matter what, I suppose. So,
I heard there's a huge housing problem here in Ireland, and how do you feel about Rosie O'Donnell coming in and getting a place to live?
I'm pretty disgusted, to be honest. I'm fully aware of the housing situation here in Northern Ireland, and for someone to come to our country to hide from the President of the United States, they're very not welcome here. It's absolutely disgusting. We have so many Irish citizens that are here in our country that don't have a home, a roof over their heads, and someone that comes from another state that takes a home from a potential Irish citizen is not welcome.
What do you think about the mass migration happening here in Ireland?
Well, I think it's ridiculous because they're all economic migrants coming over here. They're coming over here for our money, for our houses and for our jobs, and to wipe out the white culture in not just Ireland, in the whole of Europe. That's why you see them come from Somalia, Nigeria, everywhere else. That's what's happening. They're coming over and taking over our culture. Like, we can't even, as I say, we can't even use our Irish music on the street. We can't even stand outside the GPO in General Post Office in Dublin, where our ancestors fought and died for that building, you know. And we have been there, standing outside. You have different Afghans, different Muslim people coming over, praying outside, but they won't allow us to have it as a Christian, to say your prayers outside. They're stopping people, like you see in England and all, they're stopping people the moment they mention their religion, straight away, oh, you can't be saying this and that. You know, it's ridiculous.
So here in this country, you can't practice your religion, but the people that are coming in from other countries are allowed.
Because it's offensive to them. That's the way it's seen. Our Irish culture, our Irish Catholic and Christian religion is offensive to them because they're Islamic. They don't agree with what we think. They're coming over to our country. They have to adapt to our country, our culture, not the other way around. We're not adapting to their culture. We're not adapting to their country. No, they're here in their country. They adapt to our culture, not the other way around.
Can you tell me how the migrant crisis is affecting your country and what migrants get when they come here.
Roger Gorman is their minister to TD, and he invited all these people into Ireland. When he invited all the people into Ireland, he basically opened their borders and allowed it. And just what he did is really dropped the security gates and allowed them to come in. When they came in, he offered them a key to the door. Also, they were getting doctors, they're getting schooling, they're getting food supplied to them, they're getting accommodation when they come in. They're getting so much more than the Irish people. Now, I can't even get a doctor. It takes me 2 weeks to see a doctor. And before COVID, you could sit in the doctor's waiting room and be seen by the doctor that day. Either I go first, you go first, we all get seen that day. Now it's a 2-week waiting list.
All of the doctors are taking care of the migrants before you.
Yeah, yes, 100%. And the schools, we can't get our own children into schools anymore. It's very hard. Our local people can't get their youngest kids into school because there's not enough room. When I go into school, there's more foreign nationals than there is Irish. I don't mind what nationalities, but it should cater for us all and not just one and leaving the Irish people out, which is just wrong. Like, we are second class in our own country, and it's absolutely disgusting what's happening. We want to bring 1 million people into Europe every year so they can be the majority, which is very dangerous. And anyway, in the school at the moment, which is very important, in the school at the moment, we have a woman called Helen McAtee. She's looking after the education system in Ireland for the children. Her husband, his name is Paul Hickey. Paul Hickey works CEO for Advil. Advil is a puberty blockers. And puberty blockers, he's trying to introduce puberty blockers, and she's looking after the children's education. That's wrong. Yes. That's really wrong. And they're trying to push this diversity and LGBT into the schools. A few years back, I actually took a book from the school because it was transgender. It was a book called Billy's New Frock, I think it was. So that's basically grooming the children at 8 years of age into a class, which is quite dangerous. I don't want my children to be groomed in school. No way. And it's allowed behaviour. And they think we're consented by not saying anything, but they're not telling us what they're doing. So that's not consent, it's fraud. You know what I mean? It's fraud from the beginning.
How do you feel about the current state of affairs here in Ireland, and do you feel what Conor McGregor says is how people in Ireland do feel?
I'd say so, yeah. The majority would. Now, I'd probably get into trouble for saying this, but at least he spoke up about the Irish people. He brought it to the attention. We need it all to be brought out because we're suffering. Our religion is gone. They want to take our religion out of schools. What's that all about? There was a statue of Our Lady in O'Connell Street. The Muslims didn't want it there. They wanted that removed. But the government was willing to remove it for them. So our religion doesn't count. I actually would love my grandchildren to live because there's nothing for our children here. Nothing at all for our children here. We're all struggling. We're struggling, trying to make a living. I have to pay taxes. The country that I loved. I'm beginning now to say, Jesus, the men in Ireland fought for us to have freedom. We're not free anymore. We're spoken down to by our government. We're told what's happening and they're allowed to do what they like. And we pay our way. I pay me taxes. I'm paying for these people to be here and they're flaunting it in front of me every day, just standing around doing nothing, drinking and fighting. It's terrible, it really is. It's gone down and it's getting worse. Something has to be done. Someone has to listen to us. Something has to be done. Government are out high and mighty houses, so they don't know. They don't care what the ordinary people is going through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're in Ireland, and I see you wearing this Make America Great Again hat. How do you feel about Donald Trump?
Yeah, do you know, I used to actually dislike Donald Trump. CNN told me to hate him back in 2016, 2015. And I didn't like him, but then he got elected, and he started to do everything that he said that he was going to do, and I was like, oh, actually I do like this guy. So I found out for myself he seems to be doing the right thing for the people of America. So,
would you like to have a Donald Trump here in Ireland?
Absolutely. Apart from the fact that I would like it, we need it. You know, we really do need something like that because our culture is under attack. You know, our identity is just. Things are just crazy at the minute. The globalists really seem to have their claws into Ireland at the minute, you know, and across the UK and Europe. So we definitely do need a Donald Trump figure here for sure. Or at the very least, maybe we could become like a 51st state. And Conor speaks for the Irish people, more so than what these elitists in office do, and the unelected bureaucrats as well. So,
after hearing that interview of that migrant who was receiving $500 a week, $2,000 a month, he also brought with him another 30 families came across the border with him. That's $60,000. Do you understand why the people of Ireland are upset?
I understand why the people of Ireland are upset, because if you look around this town is empty. The storefronts are gone. You see people on the streets, they all look like they're struggling. We've talked to people that said they can't even afford to pay rent anymore. They feel like they're being replaced, and they technically are being replaced. Along with that family, he had 3 children, a wife. 30 other families came with him, and he said in the shelter he's living in, there's over 230 families living in that shelter. That guy was a very nice guy. He's coming from hard conditions. He wants to make Ireland his home, which is okay. But what isn't okay is that they're taking the funds from the people that have lived here their whole life, have paid into the system, and all of their money is going to fund these families that are coming in from different countries. And that is why people of Ireland are so upset about it, and they technically are being replaced. This is a small community. You bring in hundreds of people from different countries with many, many children, and in a few years from now, this town is not going to be Irish anymore.
And just in that center alone, this town has around 2,000 people. He said there's upwards of 250 to 300 people inside that town. 10% of the population is already being replaced.
It's already being replaced.
So that's why the people of Ireland are upset, because technically in these small towns, outside of Dublin, it's just full of a bunch of small towns other than a few other big cities. People are being replaced in these small towns and villages.
It's not going to be Ireland anymore. And, the people all need a chance in life. But what is the problem is they're just coming in and changing the whole culture of these small towns throughout Ireland and throughout, technically, Europe and America also. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give me a follow, let me know what you thought, and I will see you later.